I'm going to start by creating a new folder, which I'm going to call Stock Analyzing Tool. And I'm going to create a new file, stocktool.py. We need to import a few packages, so we need to import Streamlit as st. We need to import pandas as pd. We need to import numpy as np. We need to import yfinance as yf. We need to import plotly.express as px. And finally, we need to import from Yahoo query import ticker. So we need two modules from Yahoo because the first one, yfinance, we will use to download our price data, and with Yahoo query we're gonna download the fundamental information of the company. I'm going to set the page configuration to layout white, and I'm going to give the page title. So we're going to say st.set page configuration page title equals to stock analyzing tool, and I'm going to set layout to white. The title will be analyzing tool, so st title analyzing tool. I'm going to create a sidebar where we can type in our ticker and we can specify our dates. So we'll say ticker equals to st sidebar dot text input, which will be ticker, and we have a start date. It's going to be st sidebar dot date input start date, and the end date equals to st sidebar dot date input, and which will be end date. Next we need our stock information, so stock info equals to yf dot download. We need the ticker, we need the start equals to start date, and we need the end equals to end date. We're also going to make a second data frame, so we're going to call it stock info b equals to stock info. Now we will create our three tabs. So the first one will be the pricing information. The second one will be the fundamental information. And the third one will be the valuations. And that equals to st.tabs pricing info, fundamental information, and latest valuations. We're going to give them a title with pricing info. St header will be stock price information, and with fundamental info, st header will be fundamental information. Maybe we can add the ticker already, so fundamental information of plus ticker, and with valuations with valuations. We will write st header latest evaluations on plus ticker. Okay, maybe we can run our application already. So first I need to cd to our new folder. So cd stock analyzing tool, and I'm going to say Streamlit run stock tool.py, and now our application is going to open. We get an error, but that's normal. No objects to concatenate because we didn't supply a ticker. I'm going to add Microsoft, and we're going to check the data for. Okay, we don't have any data because I didn't specify yet to display it. So here we have pricing information, fundamental information, and latest valuations on Microsoft. And maybe here we can write get stock price information of Microsoft. So I'm going to return to the editor. And maybe I'll say here stock price information of plus ticker. So we'll have the information of Microsoft. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is to plot a graph on our application. So I will continue here, and we'll say like figure equals to px dot line stock info, and the x-axis will be stock info dot index, will be the date, and the y-axis will be the adjusted close, so stock info adjusted close. The title will be the ticker, so title equals to ticker, and we're going to say that width is going to be 800. And now we're going to plot the graph. So st.plotly chart, and we're going to pass in the variable fig. All right, now we should see our graph. So I'm going to save it, and I'm going to check if it works. Okay, so now we see our graph of Microsoft. Here we can specify the date. So if we say 2017, we see all price information from 2017 until today. And we're going to continue. The next thing we're going to do is to display the data frame with the price information. So we'll continue here with pricing info. We'll say st.dataframe. I'll use the second data frame, stock info B, and width is going to be 1800. You can specify it yourself. If you're using a very small screen, you could do width 1000 or width 800. Height will be 700. And now we will be able to display the data frame. I will also calculate the expected annual return, standard deviation, and the risk reward ratio. And for that, we need to return to the above, and we'll continue here. So I'm first going to calculate the daily changes. I'm going to calculate the cumulative returns, and I'm going to calculate the annual returns and the standard deviation. So to calculate the daily changes, we need to stock info B adjusted equals daily change equals to the adjusted close, stock info adjusted close divided by the adjusted close from the day before, which will be shift 1, so it will divide from the day before, I'm also going to calculate a percentage change to give it a percentage. So stock info B percentage change equals to stock info adjusted close. And here we're gonna use a built-in function percentage change. And I'm going to set a new variable stock returns. I'm going to set it equal to percentage change. Stock info B percentage change. Okay, now we're going to calculate the cumulative returns. So cumulative returns equals to 1 plus stock returns, and then we're going to do another built-in function, cumulative products. And we're going to create a new column, stock info B cumulative return equals to cumulative returns. And we're going to drop all empty values because here we're dividing to previous value. So our first value will be NaN, will be not a number. So we will drop all NaNs, and we'll do that like this: stock info B dot drop NA, and I'm going to say in place equals to true. Okay, so now we're going to calculate the average annual return, the expected annual return, and we're going to call it latest cumulative. And we need stock info B column cumulative return. We need the latest value, so we're going to use ilog -1, which will give us the latest value of this row. It's going to give us the latest row, and we need to subtract 1 from that, and so we're going to say -1, and we're going to put it between brackets, and we also need to multiply it by 100 because we'll have it in a percentage. So we'll add another 2 brackets, and we will round it to 2 numbers. So round 2, we're only going to use 2 decimals. So now to calculate the annual returns, we'll say annual returns equals to, and latest cum, our variable, we're going to divide it by the length of our amount of rows, because if we're selecting 10 years of data, it will be around 2,500 rows. If we're selecting 10 days of data, it will only be 10 rows. So we cannot use one same formula. We need to adjust it to our yearly average. So we're going to say length of stock returns, and we're going to multiply it by 252, which will be a yearly value, 252, because it does not calculate Saturdays and Sundays because stock market is closed on that day. So the next thing we're going to do is a standard deviation. Standard deviation equals to, and this is going to be the square root of percentage change. So we're going to say numpy dot standard deviation from stock info B percentage change, and here we're going to take the square root. So np dot square root of 252 multiplied by 100, and we're going to round it again to 2, so I'm going to add 2 brackets again, and we're gonna round it to 2 decimals. Okay, so now we have standard deviation, we have the cumulative returns, the annual returns. I'm gonna save it, and I'm gonna, oh, maybe first I'm gonna add it below. So now we're gonna add it to our information here. So with pricing info, we're gonna say ST rights, expected annual return of ticker plus annual returns, and it's going to be in a percentage. So this one I can remove. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is to add the standard deviation. So I'm going to say ST rights standard deviation of ticker plus double dots, and here we're going to pass in variable standard deviation. No, I need to add a comma yet. Standard deviation, and this is going to be again percentage, so we're going to say comma percent. Okay, now the last thing we need is a risk reward ratio, and this risk reward, it's actually only gonna subtract the annual returns with the standard deviation. So when this number is gonna be negative, it means that the expected annual return is lower than the standard deviation. It doesn't mean anything because the standard deviation of 20%, for example, it means that you have a chance of 20% profit and a 20% loss. So standard deviation, it means that the stock is going to move between that range. And yes, so we're going to say ST rights and risk rewards. And say comma annual returns subtracted by standard deviation, and this is going to be also in a percentage. So okay, so now I'm going to save it, and I'm going to check if all our adjustments worked. I'm going to save it, say Apple. Okay, so here we have our data frame with our price information. We have a daily change, we have a percentage change, and we have a cumulative return. And here below we have an expected annual return of 138%, which is not correct because here I'm only taking 26 days of information. So in 26 days, Apple went up 9%. So what I did with my calculation, it's gonna take this 9% and it's gonna multiply it by 12 to get like a 138%. This is not really correct. If we would change this to 2017, for example, this number will be more correct because now we have 6 years of information, and if we look at the latest cumulative return, and we have to go to the latest value. Now it went up 383%. So 383 divided by 6, it will be around this number, 63%. So if we want to have an accurate value of our expected annual return, it's better to use 6 or 5 years or 10 years of pricing data. This value will be more accurate. This 138% that we saw previously, it's not going to be correct. And standard deviation is 31%. it means that we have a risk of going down 30% and going up 30% with Apple. The risk reward here is positive, is 31, because it's only 63, subtract 31 from that and we get this number. Okay, so our first tab is finished. Now we're going to continue with the fundamental information and then with the latest valuation.